All right, so we have reached the final day of our 14-day challenge, and this time we're going to be modeling this curve steps. All right, it's a little bit more challenging than the rest as it's the final challenge. Nevertheless, with some patience, you will get through it. You just follow my lead. All right, so let me show you what we're going to do. We're actually going to be using the same steps that we created earlier with the arch, with the double arch with the steps. And the reason why, because we're going to bend the steps around. Anytime you're going to bend anything, in Blender, you need nice quads and you need enough geometry. All right. So thankfully we did that. We have enough because we created these steps here. We created with quads. So we're going to use that and it's going to make our life much easier. So let me turn this off and let's move this arch and step to the center roughly. And I want this stairs to go instead of left to right. I want it to go right to left. Like if you look at it, see it goes this way. So what I'm going to do is let's turn off these modifiers for now. So we just have a flat plane. And let me press 7 for top view. Sorry. 8 to select everything. And let's rotate this. Rotate this by 180 degrees. So 1 for front view. And now press 3 for face select. Left click. We're going to actually box select all of these faces here. And press X and delete the faces. And what we have remaining is these faces here, where the arch began to the top. And press X and delete those faces. And let's join this back up. Let's turn on auto merge vertices. Press 1 for vertex select. And yes, we make sure that our snap target is increment. Snap to vertex, my bad. And EX, snap to this vertex. And shift R until we reach that there. And because we have this selected, that means it's already merged. All right, let's move this down to the center here. Let's change this to increment and let's press G and just snap it here. All right, somewhere here. Good. And let's move the origin to the 3D cursor. So right click, set origin to 3D cursor. All right, good. So we have our start, we have our stairs. And now we want to be able to bend it around. So let me show you what we're going to do. So we're going to add a modifier, a deform modifier called a simple deform. And let's move this to the top. So we don't want to twist it, rather we want to bend it. But we see how we get this weird shading here. In order to avoid that, let's use an object, an empty. I already created this empty. You just have to press Shift A and add an empty plane axis. All right, so that's what I did here. So select the object, the stairs, and then click on the eyedropper and select the empty as the origin. And so instead of bending over the X, we want to bend over the Z axis instead. And we could use this angle. All right, so if we put like 360, we notice it's a full circle it made there. Let's put this to like 120 for now so we could see what's happening. If we want to rotate this, like I already want to rotate it around, I can't press RZ because where things will happen is because of where the empty is located. So instead I'll have to press GX to move it to the left. All right, so that's what I want to do. All right, so let's turn off this simple deform for now. If we're going to create this, let me show you. With the cylinder, we have to think ahead. We want a full cylinder. And if it is if we apply this modifier or continue on what we were doing, how are we going to get that cylinder? So we have to think in advance. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to create some more geometry before we deform it. We're going to extrude some geometry up and across so that when it bends, it will join together. You'll see what I mean. Let's first make this thicker. So let's put the solidify modifier on top and enable it. I want it to go the other way though. So put the offset to 1 and the thickness to 1.5. And because of that weird shading, let's just right click and shade flat for now. And let's apply this solidify modifier. So what we actually, you know what I could have done? Okay, you know what? I'll leave it at that. All right, so let's apply this. And what I want to do is delete these back faces here. So press 7 for top view, Alt A and Alt Z. And just select those there, but click on 3 on the top of our keyboards for face select. All right, so Alt Z, and now we press X and delete those faces. All right, so we're going to face this up. As mentioned, we're going to actually create this wall a little higher and a little wider. So to do that, we're going to press 2 for edge. Select we want these edges, and then we're going to extrude it up, right? And leave it at increment. So we want to select the whole ring of edges here. Well, not the whole ring, but from here to here. So we could we use the shortest part? Yes, we can. So let's do it again. Click on this edge, control left click on this edge. So we just have these edges here. And then one for front view. We want to be able to extrude it up, similar to what we did before, by 5 blocks, right? So EZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let's press Shift R to repeat that. All right, probably one more time. Let's continue that up so that we get enough. So Alt A to deselect. And we have options now. So we could be able to select all of these faces here and press X and delete them, right? Now all we have to do is extend the wall. So press 1 for vertex select. Let's select this one to the bottom here. Control and left click. So we have this edge here. And we're going to do the same thing where we extrude it 5 blocks across. All right, so EX 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just press Shift R. And keep holding Shift R till a long way down. All right, tab out of edit mode. Let's average that. If we turn on simple deform, set this to 360. Look what happens. So we get that full circle there. All right, and even if we extend it far, it just joins it when it reaches 360. So thankfully we have that. And now we could be able to apply this. So click on this and apply it and press A to select everything. And it should have merged already because this has auto merge. But we still press M by distance. Well, it didn't. So remove 19 vertices. So let's press Alt and left click the top here. Okay, let's press F to create a face. And let's do it to the bottom. So Alt left click and press F to create that face there. And let's turn on our bevel and our subdivision surface modifier. And there we have it. Really, really nice. And that's how easy it is. And this is how we create our arch, our curved arch with the cylinder in the middle. All right, really cool. So if you got this far, congratulations. You did very well. And there was some key thing that you learned in this 14-day challenge. Is this the end of it? Of course not. There's a lot more to learn still, especially with modeling. But you have a good foundation going forward. I would suggest that you challenge yourself. So look for simple objects, and you may be surprised some objects that look really simple could offer a real challenge. But challenge yourself and then check on YouTube when you can't find a solution. All right, avoid tutorial rabbit hole. So try to do some projects on your own and finish them. Go through the grind. It will be tough sometimes. If you have to take a break, come back to it and finish it. So keep creating, keep modeling, keep practicing, and you need a lot of patience. All right. So we're finished with the modeling, but I'm sure you'll want to learn how to add materials, how to light your props, and how to set up your render engine for a really cool render. So those are some of the things that you will learn in the next few videos. All right. So I'll see you in the next one.